they secrete this sticky substance from their skin, and it glues the jaws of biting ants shut.
Oh.
And then the ants get stuck to their skin. So then they walk around, they're just like covered in ants. Like
ant armor.
And then they shed their skin off and then they eat it.
That's so cool.
So they get to eat all the ants that way. Welcome to World's Wildest. Hello, everybody. Today's episode, another viewer suggestion. A very exciting suggestion.
Very sticky suggestion.
A very sticky suggestion. We are doing World's Stickiest. That was a viewer suggestion on YouTube from Sekiskro 5093.
Good pronunciation.
Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm very excited for this one. I have one that is absolutely insane, that if there was a competition for who has the world's stickiest animal on this podcast, I win.
Okay.
And another one that's really funny.
I've got, I went down a rabbit hole on how glues are made from animals and all of the biochemicals in glue and how we can use this world's stickiest animals to create super soldiers like Spider-Man.
Connor's obsessed with making super soldiers. Guys, make sure to sub to our Patreon or check out our Patreon if you haven't already. We have a bunch of extra content on there. You get ad-free episodes on there. And bookmarks if you're tier 3. Ooh, ah. Wicked.
And if you want to see your suggestion on this episode or for us to do that, put it down in the comments below and then go through and read other people's comments and like the ones that you like.
This is our 20th episode.
Ooh.
Wow.
21 or 22, we will be like the 99th percentile of podcasts because a lot of times they don't make it past the 21st episode.
They quit. We don't.
Keep going. I can't wait till 69. I love Factor. I'm always busy. The meals are always so delicious, and they come right to your door, and it's just 2 seconds to warm up in the microwave. And if you want to try Factor meals on your own, head over to factormeals.com/wildest50 and use code wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code wildest50 at factormeals.com/wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
Are you ready?
Yes.
My first animal for world's stickiest is the Asian weaver ant.
Okay.
Weaver ant.
Sounds boring. Doesn't sound sticky.
Boring? Why? Because it's an ant?
I'm just trying to set you up here to like blow my mind.
Oh, okay. It's an arboreal ant from tropical Asia and Australia, 5 to 10 millimeters long. Look, I didn't do the conversions. Okay, they're freaking small.
I think when you're talking about small.
It's an ant. Okay, it's small. The queens can be up to an inch. But like
huge.
It's small. Okay, they're small.
Yeah.
They feed on other insects.
Okay.
We're going to pull up a picture.
Okay.
Asian weaver ants can cling upside down to a smooth glass surface holding a 500 milligram weight.
Okay, we're looking at a picture, audio listeners. It looks like this ant is, I don't know, Superman upside down on glass holding a gigantic weight compared to its body size.
That weight is 100 times its body weight.
That's Superman ant. Yeah, that beats mine.
Hang from glass and hold something 100 times its body weight. Listeners, imagine me hanging from glass upside down by just the soles of my feet.
Okay.
Holding an RV. 100 times my body weight. Holding an RV. Holding 10 horses linked together. Or holding one Asian African forest elephant.
Jesus. There's no shot.
Sticking on my feet upside down on glass, just holding it.
I feel like Spider-Man couldn't even do that.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Ants are insane.
Thank you for ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/wildest to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/wildest. ZocDoc.com/wildest. Thanks for sponsoring. Go book those doctor's appointments.
They have tarsal adhesive pads that produce a thin liquid film. So it's the same science as like how a wet paper towel will cling to a window.
Okay. Yeah.
If you like get a paper towel, stick it to a window, and it'll cling on there. So it doesn't really act like a glue, but it lets the foot pads hold really tight using capillary forces.
Gotcha.
They have cute little feet. So we'll pull up little feet pictures, some feet pics. Their feet pads can also expand to increase surface area to grip. We're looking at a little ant foot. I don't really know how to describe an ant foot.
Yeah, I was thinking about a bunch of little hairs on it, I guess.
There's lots of hairs. It's segmented. They have little hooks at the end too. It looks nothing like our foot. I don't know. It's a really close-up shot of an ant foot.
Yeah.
So cool.
Very cool.
So sticky. So strong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's more.
Okay.
They form colonies that are like, they're arboreal. So they're in trees, and the colonies are like football size-ish.
Are they like in the branches, in the trunk?
You're going to lose your mind.
Okay.
Each nest is made of leaves that are glued together.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Where did they get the glue?
I was about, like, glue's hard to make if they're making it themselves.
Yes.
Like, internally.
They don't make it.
A lot of resources. Oh.
Their children make it.
Ew.
They use their children as tubes of glue.
Wait. What? Like, alive?
Yes.
This is horrible.
The larva produces. Well, they're fine. They're happy to do it.
Okay,
it's like, imagine here. Okay, their larva produces a sticky silk that can stick leaves together. Imagine if I was your child and I produced glue from my mouth, and you held me like a big gun, and you like moved me around, or like held me like a giant pencil, and you moved me around a surface, and I just put glue all over it.
We need our editor to animate that.
Please don't. I think it's better if you don't. But okay, so this happens in a few steps. Here's the first step. So ants find leaves in the trees, and then a bunch of them work together to pull those leaves together. This is hard to do because they're very small. So they grab the leaves in their mandibles and they pull together, which is incredible in the first place.
Stitching it.
They all work together. Yeah. Yes, they all work together to pull. Then the adult ants go and grab a child, and then they carry them around like tubes of glue in their mouth.
And it doesn't hurt the...
No, they're fine. The larva's fine. Look at it. They will grab the larva in their mouth.
It's a little glue gun.
Like a glue gun, yes. Like a little tube of super glue. And then they go to where they've pulled together the leaves, and they move their child to like stitch the leaves together with glue.
Man, way to be efficient. Like, you're putting everything to work.
Put them to work. Put the children...
Get them in the
Put
factory.
the ant children to work. So then they end up with a product that looks like this. This is a pretty large weaver ant nest. Isn't that so cool?
That looks so man-made.
I know, it's incredible. It's all the leaves, audio listeners, are it's like kind of like a football shape, and all the leaves are flat. Like you can see the whole surface area of the leaf, and then all the space in between, it's like it's grouted with white glue.
That's a good way to put it.
It's like a mosaic. It's beautiful. Like,
it's
so
cool.
Yeah, and so that's what their colonies look like.
Honestly, I would love to live inside that.
I think I'd get bored.
I think it'd be so cool. Walking out every day, being so high up.
No, see, I don't like that. Connor is happy to be like 50 feet tall in trees. I pass.
It would be the best thing ever. It's like it's a tree house.
It is like a tree house.
Oh, you know what? I changed my mind on what animal I'd want to come back as. Being a house cat, I want to be that ant.
That's kind of, I guess, sure. Okay.
That sounds awesome. That's the first time I've ever wanted to be an insect.
On the next episode of World's Wildest, Connor and I are going to test ourselves versus Asian weaver ants, and we're going to try to hang upside down from glass and see how many things we can hold.
Sure. I'll get that set up right now.
Okay. See you there.
No, that's so cool. I really like that.
Yeah, they're sick.
All right. Well,
quiz time.
Quiz time.
Speaking of ants, which ant has the most painful sting?
Bullet ant.
That is correct.
I think you're winning now.
Extra bonus, what pain level is it rated at on the Schmidt Sting Pain Index?
I'm going to be honest, I don't even know
I don't know that index.
Like a 6.5.
It's a 4, which is max.
Oh.
You know, there's in the Amazon rainforest, there are indigenous tribes that, as like a coming of age ceremony, they do bullet ant gloves. So they'll turn the glove inside out, and they'll attach it, like they'll weave them into the glove alive, which is sad. And then young men will have to put on the glove, and they all bite
one glove,
the
one
inside
hand.
of your hand. I think it's one hand. I'm not sure.
That sucks.
They're called bullet ants because it feels like you got shot.
I've always wanted to try pepper spray in the eyes, so I guess I get it.
Can't relate.
Maya won't let me do that though, especially on stream.
It's TOS.
All right, I've got geckos.
Okay.
Not geckos, but geckos. I did spell that wrong initially. There are 1,500 species worldwide of geckos.
That's a lot.
There are so many. They're so cool. I'm familiar with like the leopard geckos. I've seen those a lot in the pet trade, stuff like that. But yeah, they're very, very cool.
There are black ones, there are blue ones, there are green ones, there are orange ones, there are yellow ones. Lots of colors. Very
the
cool.
blue ones are crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen those.
Largest gecko is the New Caledonian geckos, the largest known gecko species, and grows to a length of about 14 inches, weighs 227 to 340 grams, or 8 to 12 ounces. Maya,
14 inches.
Please describe what you are seeing on the screen.
35.5 centimeters.
Thank you.
It kind of looks like a leopard gecko if it was like really fat.
Okay. It's taking up this whole guy's hand.
Yeah.
Tail's extended past the fingers.
Yeah.
And there's a watch that it's laying its head on, which is very cute.
Yeah, its head is like the same size as the whole watch face. It's a really big lizard.
Mm-hmm. So their main predators are snakes, large spiders, which is crazy.
Dang.
Mammals, and birds. A lot of species, but not all of them, can drop their tail to escape predators. Why do you think they would want to drop their tail?
Because the predator grabs them by their tail, and then they're like, nope, gotcha. And then they drop it and run away, still alive.
And the predator still gets a meal, so they like stop chasing it away and still eat it. So that is a cool strategy, and it works for some and does not work for others.
Not so sticky.
That's true. So it's called autonomy. Is that
Autotomy.
Autonomy. Thank you. I was struggling early. And they are able to regrow their tail after it falls off. We have a picture of a gecko with its tail, and then a picture of a gecko without its tail.
Nub.
Very sad. So it is a good and bad thing that they can do this. So once they lose their tail, you have that opening for infection. A lot of parasites target that area. Fungal infections, wherever they're at, can come in there. And they also have studied that it decreases their social standing.
Oh.
And they are significantly less likely to mate without a tail because they look weird. So it's not always the best. So the original tail has bone in it.
Okay.
When it regrows, it's different.
Oh.
They don't regrow the bone; they regrow cartilage and blood vessels and the muscle. It's just not the same anymore. It's a lot weaker, and there's a lot more scarring and stuff like that. Why do you think they're researching this, Maya? Not super soldiers. Well, a little bit, but
For like amputation?
for humans, yeah.
For like reattachment and amputation?
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue is that it's regrowing something that's not as strong. It's not bone, it's cartilage.
Right.
And like, it just doesn't work the same. So they're trying to find the good stuff of that and then leave the bad and like maybe genetically modify how the stem cells regrow so it grows bone instead of cartilage. But we're a really long way off from that. But it's really cool research, and maybe there's something out there that we can find to help amputees.
All right.
So they love to eat insects, and some species will actually eat fruit, which is interesting. They are able to replace each of their teeth, which are 100 teeth, every 3 to 4 months.
Wow, that's wild.
Which is very interesting. They're mostly nocturnal, and they have amazing eyesight for catching insects. They have 350 times more sensitive eyes for seeing in the dark than humans do.
Jeez.
Just super good night vision.
Yeah.
With this eyesight, they're also very fast, very quick paced. Makes them excellent insect hunters, but what makes them the best insect hunter is their ability to climb pretty much anything.
True.
So
they got those little feet. They got the little like flat, like spread out toes.
Mm-hmm. And I went down a rabbit hole on these. And I'm not going to get into all the science. And I was about to send you last night a whole bunch of spectroscopy analysis of their feet, but we don't need to get into all that. It's really cool though because they are able to climb glass, straight vertical glass.
Yeah.
Not as insane as the ants, but they're able to still get up there. They're able to hang off of one toe and hold their body weight on one toe when they're hanging from glass vertically.
So I could hang from one finger.
Yep.
Vertically from glass.
When I'm working long days, I oftentimes forget to eat, or really eating's on a low priority for me, and then end up crashing later in the day. But I haven't had that issue since I've been eating Factor meals. They're so good. They're very delicious. They deliver straight to your door. It only takes 2 minutes to warm up in the microwave, and the macros are good. And with 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from, every week you'll always have a new flavor to explore. Crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your days delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with ease and nutritional options. Head over to factormeals.com/wildest50 and use code wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code wildest50 at factormeals.com/wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Thank you so much, Factor. So only 60% of geckos have these adhesive toe pads, and this trait evolved independently about 11 times in different gecko lineages, and some geckos were like, nah, I don't need it, so 9 lineages dropped it.
That's bizarre. I would have thought that it was all of them. If I was trying to develop like a glove that could help me climb glass like a supervillain, I would look to geckos first.
Yes.
Because I think all geckos can do this.
And we're about to we'll get an in-depth shot or we're going to get a picture of the toe pads.
Yeah.
Really up close in a second.
Cool.
So how are they able to climb this glass? So their toe pads have a ton of folds in them, and the folds have different structures and types of skin built into them that they use in different scenarios: wet, dry, cold, warm. So they have a very
hanging from one finger from glass vertically, and the glass is wet.
Yes. Yeah. So they're trying to figure out like exactly the molecular forces that interact with it. They're like, oh, maybe it's electrostatic interaction, maybe it's van der Waals or capillary force. Van der Waals is just basically like a chemical connection between electrons. It's very, very weak though. Okay. So they're trying to figure all this out because we do a lot of lifting with suction cups, especially glass and stuff like that. So we're always trying to find better ways for construction side of things. Yeah. And I don't think it's really needed for super soldiers. It's a meme at this point for me to relate it to super soldiers, but it would be cool to do Spider-Man type suits, but unlikely. It would be really, really good for
crazy
construction people though. So we have a picture up of the toe pads, and this isn't like the largest toe pad. They do get larger, but we can see all these intricate folds in there. And on each of the folds, they have all these different types of proteins and structures that help them grab onto different structures, which is a lot of fun.
They look like the backs of isopods, like the way that they're all frilled on top of each other. That's very strange.
Mm-hmm. And like they can swap sides.
Can I stick to humans like that? Like on your skin, on your forearm, if it was hanging upside down?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I just like have never thought to do that or have seen it.
I've only dealt with a few geckos in like vet clinic settings, but never flipped them upside down. Huh. So I don't see why they wouldn't.
Right. Yeah.
It might be hard to like if you have like hairy arms like I do, like it'd struggle to stick to that. But adulting can be pretty fun. Not having a bedtime, having dessert for dinner. But it can also be difficult, whether that's learning how to fold fitted sheets, just ball them up, throw them in a closet. It's going to be okay. Or taxes, or even booking doctor's appointments. But it doesn't have to be. With ZocDoc, it can be pretty easy. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skincare, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast. Typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking, You can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/wildest and find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/wildest. ZocDoc.com/wildest. Thanks so much. Yeah. So they have very large surface areas for toe pads to help them adhere to surfaces. If we as humans wanted to climb like geckos, over 40% of our body would have to be toe pads or some sort of adhesion pads. So basically all of our back would need to be, to be able to lift as much weight as we have to equal their ratio of climbing.
Interesting.
But they're able to do it with significantly less adhesion. So
cool.
Which is really cool. So geckos are super, super good about attaching to that, but how do you, they could probably get stuck. Have you ever tried to pull a suction cup off of a windshield?
Sure.
And it's just impossible?
Yeah.
Well, they have specialized fingers that...
Thank you.
It's called hyperextension or digital hyperextension. So they're able to extend their toes or their digits in the opposite direction from human fingers and toes. So go this complete opposite way.
Yeah.
It's think of double jointed, but not quite double jointed. But they're able to go complete opposite direction with the fingers, so they can actually pull it off the glass, kind of like a suction cup or Scotch tape as you pull it off. Is the analogy they use to kind of break that surface tension, that static electricity side of things. So it's really cool. So do you think water and humidity affects their climbing?
No.
It affects it in a good way. So they found that the bee keratin in their skin will uptake the water and help them grip glass easier when it's wet.
Huh.
So they have that.
It's kind of like, it's like the Weaver ant thing I was talking about, like paper towel on a window, right? Just capillary action?
It's not quite capillary action because that's more suction based.
Oh.
They still don't 100% know, but it deals a lot with electrostatics and just base adhesion.
Yeah.
But not quite capillary because they don't have that.
For the record, very impressed that you tried to read all these papers because I looked into all of this. There's a lot of science behind it. It's very dense.
I put 4 hours in this and then I condensed down a lot of it because it gets
very
a little
brave. I read one of those papers and I was like, I'm just going to say it's like a wet paper towel on a window.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're going into so much depth to study this.
Yeah.
Because if they're able to replicate even 50% of what geckos can do, heck, even these ants, then we're going to be able to build a lot more glass structures. We're able to take, bigger glass windows, heavier, safer glass windows up into these skyscrapers. Construction just gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's military applications as well, but it's biomimicry. It's really smart for people to do that, to study that instead
that's cool.
recreate it. So big fan of geckos. I was always like, geckos are fine. But after researching, I'm like, you know what? They're pretty cool. They make fine companions, a few of them, but be very careful not to get wild caught geckos. Honestly, stick with cat and dogs in my opinions. But if you really, really want a gecko, I think the leopard geckos, they're pretty established to be well taken care of in captivity, not pulling from wild populations. And you stick to that.
Look for reptile rescues if you're really, really, really intent on getting a pet reptile.
Agreed.
Cool. Are you ready for my funny one?
Yes.
Has a few common names.
Okay.
The Holy Cross Frog, Crucifix Frog, the Catholic Frog.
Okay.
And he is very holy. We will pull up a picture of him now.
What? Why does it get that name? Okay, audio listeners, it's a very round frog.
It is spherical.
Very spherical with a little bit of green patches, but lines of black, orange, a little bit of white, and looks like it's got bumps all over it.
Bumpy, really colorful, lots of colors here.
It's very cute.
Kind of bulbous eyes looking opposite directions, no neck, small mouth. You don't know how big this is? Guess how big he is.
2 inches.
1.8 to 2.6 inches, 4.5 to 6.5 centimeters long. This is a comparison.
Oh my gosh.
Of him next
It's so tiny.
to a coin.
It's like
I think this is
a pound coin or something.
Fake money. It's Australian money. I think it's like 20 cents, 20 Australian money.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a coin, and he's the exact same size of it, and he's sitting next to it.
So small. So
I wonder what he's thinking about it.
This is in Australia?
Yes. Here's one more picture for reference of him in someone's hand.
That's so cute. It looks kind of like he's posted up on this guy's hand.
Yeah, he does. He's got legs. He's standing like a bulldog on this guy's legs, but he's the size of like one of his fingertips. Probably as like his thumb tip.
Nice.
So they're very small, very cute, hilarious. If
Very
you guys
cute.
have seen rain frogs on social media, they've gone kind of viral for being pets, which again we just talked about. Not something that I would necessarily recommend, but they give off rain frog vibes. Very like funny looking,
Goofy.
very spherical. So they spend most of their life underground unless it's raining. So they're underground 9 months out of the year, and they
Georgie
only
status. Okay.
and they only come out during the rain. They have really bright colors to warn predators not to eat them. Classic frog move. And they're named the Holy Cross Frog or Crucifix Frog or Catholic Frog because of this cross marking on their back. Here's my thing. I had like a heated discussion with my boyfriend last night because he was like, yeah, that's a cross. And I was like,
No.
I'm going to be honest. If they're going to have those 3 common names, it better be a freaking cross.
Right.
Like it better be a clear cross, and they have a very clear star,
Yeah.
starfish shaped.
Audio listeners, the lines, there's 5 lines instead of 4. I guess 3 lines instead of 2. So yeah, it looks like a starfish on its back.
It looks like a starfish on its back. I'm sorry. I just like that name is so dramatic for this being what it's named after.
I was hoping it was like help with Exorcist or something.
No, they're like, oh look, there's a cross on its back.
Let's
call it the Catholic Frog.
They should have done it with Exorcist.
Anyway, it's very cool looking though. It's got super bright colors. Really cool little guy.
Very cute.
Why are they the world's stickiest? It has nothing to do with anything that I've talked about so far. They can secrete a very sticky substance from their skin when they're stressed. So if there are ants that are attacking them to eat them, they're very small. Like ants could take them.
Yeah, I can see that overall.
They secrete the sticky substance from their skin and it glues the jaws of biting ants shut.
Oh.
And then the ants get stuck to their skin. So then they walk around and they're just like covered in ants. Like
Ant armor.
And then they shed their skin off and then they eat it.
That's so cool.
So they get to eat all the ants that way. Yeah.
That's
crazy buff. Did I use that right? Is that a buff?
Sure, that's buff.
Crazy buff.
Good job.
Thank you. The males also use the sticky substance to attach themselves to females while mating.
Multi-use.
Which, like, okay. I mean, chill out. But I guess, you know.
It just means like less work for him. You can just attach himself, doesn't have to hold on.
Yeah.
So it's just energy efficient.
I guess.
Don't judge too hard. Jeez.
And then they act as no predator wants to get a mouthful of that. So it's a deterrent.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So this glue, super interesting, or this substance that they secrete that is like it's glue, like by definition, hardens in seconds, but it remains flexible, non-toxic to humans. Very surprising because a lot of frogs are full of toxins.
Right.
They use frogs to treat parasites in agriculture. They use frogs in traditional medicine. They have like a ton of toxins, but this glue in particular, non-toxic to humans. It sticks to plastics, wood, glass, metal, Teflon, like everything. It's strong even in moist conditions. Sounds pretty...
Why do I not have a bottle of this glue?
So, well, okay, rude. It's not yours.
Okay.
First of all, medical researchers and orthopedic surgeons want to use it like as a adhesive for medical reasons, which makes sense. This is kind of a sad study. At the University of New South Wales, there's an orthopedic surgeon. His name's George Merle. He made tears in the meniscus of the knees of sheep, 10 sheep. So he made tears in their meniscuses, and then he treated those tears with the secretion from the frogs.
Okay.
Check back 10 weeks later, worked great.
Wow.
Held the fragments together, collagen had filled in the gap, and they were healed. Their meniscuses were good to go after 10 weeks.
That's really cool.
Very cool. Also, the glue has this like porous structure, so it's permeable to gas and nutrients and possibly even cells. So like really good for healing because everything can go through it.
Fill in, feel breathing. That's really cool. That'd be really good for like sports medicine too.
Yes, like big time.
Yeah.
It has a protein that's unrelated to any other known biological adhesive. So we've studied barnacles, like we're familiar with a lot of biological adhesives, but this one is brand new, fresh on the shelf.
That's really cool.
Don't worry though, okay? Scientists are developing a genetically engineered version of that protein.
I was about to say, like, there's no way that you can make it cost effective enough. Like you.
Sorry, we pulled up a picture of a frog and he's screaming.
I think, like, even if they were to like try to exploit them terribly, I think like even that would be like cost inefficient.
Yeah, and they're like so small. You would have to wipe them out.
Yeah,
to get enough glue for like. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it makes sense. I give it 5 years and we'll have frog glue instead of gorilla glue.
Does that have anything to do with gorillas?
No.
Okay.
It's just branding.
Okay. I thought you were just making a reference that I was never heard of it.
No, it's cool.
Anyway, Holy Cross Frog, Crucifix Frog, Catholic Frog. He still has yet to say his religious affiliation, but those are his names. And he's very sticky.
Very sticky.
Yeah.
Nice.
Quiz time.
Quiz time.
Part 2.
Two for this episode, yeah. Okay, gotta tie you.
Okay.
Okay, speaking of frogs, what is the color of the most poisonous frog in the world?
Orange.
No.
We got a few guesses here. The most poisonous frog in the world. I feel like this is a trick. Because I think you want us to say, like, what a primary color, because poison dart frogs. But in reality, I feel like they're not even that serious.
Probably just like gray.
So I'm going to say, like, brown.
No.
Dang it.
Yeah. Dummy.
It is yellow.
Ah.
I was so close.
They're called the golden poison frog from Colombia.
I was so close.
Fun fact, viewers. Poison dart frogs are only poisonous because of what they eat in the wild. In captivity, when they're fed flightless fruit flies, they're not poisonous at all. Also, they're poisonous as in you would have to ingest them to ingest that poison. They're not going to, like, bite you and inject poison. That's venomous.
Good clarification. Nice. Well, for mine, world's stickiest, I went with world's stickiest plants.
Ooh, love. That's so smart. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
I've got 3 of them, and one of them just recently became or known to be really sticky. Okay. So the first one, and these are pretty common. These I'm going with like the really cool, or 2 of these are very well known for being insectivores, and
Venus flytrap.
Not on here, but that same category.
Pitcher plant.
Yeah. Isn't there like a stinky mushroom one too that looks like a mushroom?
I don't know.
Okay. So we have butterworts.
Ew.
They use sticky granular leaves to lure, trap, and digest insects in order to supplement the poor mineral nutrition they obtain from the environment. So they're really going for nitrogen here. Maya, please explain what you're seeing to the listeners.
It's a picture. It looks like a succulent that you would find at the plant store, and then there's just a bunch of flies stuck to it, like a fly trap.
Very stuck. So there are roughly 80 known species. This mechanism, this action that they use to lure and capture prey is through a means of sticky or adhesion substance that is produced by a mucilage secretion by glands located on the leaf surfaces in order to catch, and then has a secondary gland to help release enzymes to digest the insects.
What if I touched it?
Probably you'd pull off the glands and the stickiness, and then that spot.
What if I left my finger for a really long time?
You might get a smidge of irritation, but your body probably is repairing faster than the enzymes are breaking down your finger. So,
I see. Okay, just wondering.
Or it would just die before that. So, no, it's really cool how they break down and like turn the flies into
that's
liquid.
So cool. Carnivorous plants are so cool.
And then we've got another carnivorous plant, sundew. There's a bunch of different types of sundews.
These are so pretty.
They're gorgeous, and it just looks like they have raindrops on their leaves.
Yeah.
And then it lures in the flies, and we're looking at a picture of a very beautiful plant, and that's water droplets are just super, super sticky and have those digestive enzymes, and is able to slowly turn the flies into mush.
Audio listeners, it kind of looks like a Venus flytrap with like a bunch of lollipops sticking out of it.
They're really pretty. If you were to touch it, you just rip all that stuff off. These type of plants are going after the insects because they lack nitrogen in the soil. Nitrogen is a key ingredient for them to grow and do well, and so they just get them from the insects. It's a really cool adaptation, and I think now they've gotten really good at maybe 30 to 40 years ago. They weren't really good at growing these in captivity.
Yeah.
And so they just harvest them out of the wild. So there's a lot of issues with that. But now there's been so much research and science, and there's a huge market behind it. People just love these to have them in there. It's been a trend on TikTok too, especially if you don't have cats, to get some of these.
Yeah, Sandu's and like catch flies with it.
Leave it out. Like just leave it in your kitchen because it's pretty. It's catching them. You know, just doing that. Venus flytraps. I used to have them as a kid.
Me too. I've never been able to keep them alive.
No, I haven't either. It's tough. Now they're a little bit easier to understand and do now, but it does take a lot of research.
Cool.
And there are places, I was looking at this, thousands of dollars for these type of plants.
Really?
Some of the more rare ones that are effective.
See, I would never spend that kind of money because it would die. I'm so bad with plants.
You've gotten a little bit better, haven't you?
No, it would die.
Oh, okay.
In my hands.
Rip. Well, I've got one more.
Okay.
English ivy, and this was a research paper that came out in Nature. So the English ivy is a creeping plant, is known to secrete a yellowish sticky substance when it climbs vertical surfaces. This glue-like secretion, which contains spherical nanoparticles, helps the plants attach to a ton of different surfaces. And they were able to isolate that protein, and they're going to try to use that protein for glues and other cool things. Maybe they'll use it for surgeries and stuff like that as well.
Cool.
They're seeing that this glue actually penetrates into the substance to create a deep connection, and it actually does better in wet conditions and can still stay a little bit flexible in wet conditions as well.
We're talking about climbing ivy, audio listeners, like ivy that climbs walls.
Yeah, English ivy, you see it all over buildings in the UK, stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool nanoparticle, pectin, calcium, ion, bioadhesion characteristics that they've really narrowed down. All that to say that we might be able to, that stuff can be kind of invasive in some areas, so they might be able to grind it down and maybe isolate that and use that glue for other things. Or they'll be able to create it chemically and use it for whatever we need to use it for.
Fun fact, adult tip of the day. When I was in college, in my dorm room, I had a pothos, which is like one of the most common houseplants ever. And they're a climbing plant as well. So they'll like climb up walls and like grab onto tree branches and stuff. And I let it climb up my wall because like I didn't really think about how it did that.
Right.
And it has all these nodes that are attached at certain places of the wall. When I moved out of that dorm room, I took it off the wall and took the paint with it. Like
That's crazy.
It ruined the wall.
Do you have to pay anything for that?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
But it's
This was a
interesting.
long time
It
ago.
penetrates pretty deep.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've seen
I
like,
learned my lesson. Don't let your plants climb your walls like that.
yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
And
Your inside walls.
and like if it ever dies, then it's just a huge fire hazard on your house or something like that. But I've seen them remove them off like English cottages and stuff like that, and it pulls out just chunks of concrete.
That's crazy.
With it, because if you leave it up for some places have it up for like hundreds of years.
But yeah, it's like in there.
Yeah, it just pulls out huge amounts of that adhesion.
I love when we talk about plants here. We need to talk about plant more. We should do a plant worlds.
Plantiest, greenest.
Maybe.
It's photosynthetic. We dress up as plants. Our favorite plant.
Sure. We should do more dressing up.
Oh, sure. I'd love that.
Wait, we're gonna have a Halloween episode soon.
We should.
World's spookiest.
Okay.
But I don't want to give them a bad rep. We'll think about it. We'll
I mean,
take it back.
like
Table it.
the fox calls sound like someone's getting murdered.
Oh, true.
Talking about that.
That's a great
That's
angle.
spooky. Yeah.
We'll think about that, and we'll think about plant episodes. I love talking about plants here.
And then we need to do We need to do that cave episode, which I'm still working on.
Oh yeah, we're gonna film from a cave.
And then I want to get a treehouse. Like I want to go film in a treehouse.
We are in a treehouse.
But like really high up.
We are really high up in a treehouse.
We're only 30 feet. I want to like.
This is a real treehouse.
You know what? Oh, why don't we do a podcast in Eagle's Nest?
Do you think there are sure.
Why didn't I think about it?
We can do that.
Yeah.
Do you think there are any audio listeners that have never seen our set that don't know what we're talking about?
Probably.
Do you think that's possible?
Yeah.
If there are any audio listeners that have never seen a video version of this podcast, first of all, thank you, Slay. Second of all, our set is excellent and you should go look at it sometime. We're in a tree house. We're up in a tree. It's a very real tree.
And this
Very
tree's
real
starting to
branches.
grow, and so we're going to have to expand this floor out a little bit.
Yep.
So,
Pretty cool.
it's nice.
Thank you guys for your suggestions. As always, thank you for watching these episodes. Thank you for liking and subscribing.
Thank you.
Thank you for checking out our Patreon, where we have ad-free episodes and a bunch of extra content. We appreciate that. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like, and TikTok if you'd like.
It's going to be a great time.
See you there.
Goodbye.
See you on the next one.
Working long days, you oftentimes forget to eat good, tasty, high-quality food, but Factor makes that easy. Factor will deliver very delicious meals to your door, and they only take 2 minutes to warm up in the microwave. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have a new flavor to explore. Crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your days delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with ease and nutritional options. Head over to factormeals.com/wildest50 and use code wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code wildest50 at factormeals.com/wildest50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I love Factor meals. Always so tasty, very quick to warm up in the microwave, always delivered to the door. Thank you so much, Factor.